This episode of Scrolling to Death is sponsored by Bark Technologies. Bark offers parents advanced content monitoring for all of your child's devices. Bark is literally helping to save lives and has alerted parents to millions of life-threatening situations like self-harm and severe bullying. More on Bark in the episode notes. Welcome to the Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. This is a weekly update for parents on all things social media and big tech. First of all, Happy New Year. Families here in California are celebrating a little extra this week because SB 976, a law to protect kids online, was upheld in the courts. This law passed several months ago and restricts children from addictive feeds, algorithms. So if a minor is on social media, they can't be served algorithms without parental consent. They'll need a chronological feed. But once this law passed, what always happens is there is a lawsuit. One of the main culprits of these lawsuits is an organization that is funded by social media companies. This organization is called NetChoice. They sued the state of California to try to overturn the law, but a federal judge in California saw through that BS and upheld the law. So starting this week, children should not be seeing addictive and harmful algorithms on social media, or the companies can be fined. So as a parent, this is important. If your child is on social media, be sure that their birth date is listed accurately. Otherwise, this law will not apply to them until January of 2027, when the companies need to actually verify ages and confirm that the child is a minor, even if they've given the wrong birth date. The state of Florida actually passed a law to protect children online, but implementation over there has been delayed due to another lawsuit from guess who? NetChoice again. This is a straight up social media ban for kids under 14 in Florida. And if you're 14 or 15 years old, you'll need to get parental permission to use social media at all. This law was supposed to go into effect on January 1st, but the state of Florida will not be enforcing the law until the court rules on the lawsuit. A hearing for this is expected in early 2025. I hope there is a swift ruling to move forward with this law in Florida, as millions of children will be protected once it's in place. This social media ban in Florida is similar to that in Australia, which is an actual social media ban for all kids under 16, no parental permission option. You can listen to my interview with Aussie Danny Alachi to learn about what they're doing down in Australia and why they passed this law. I want to touch super briefly on age verification since I get asked about this a lot. So when these new laws state there will be bans under certain ages, that means they'll need to somehow verify the ages of the users. So how will the tech companies verify ages without compromising privacy of the user, especially children? Well, within these laws, it states very clearly that the information provided to verify the age needs to be received by a third party, not the social media company itself. Some of the laws state that it needs to be a US-based company. And most importantly, that they cannot save the information. It needs to be immediately deleted. And there are huge fines if they do not follow these requirements. So there should be no privacy risk to the minor. We're going to switch over to TikTok now. TikTok recently released some numbers, some stats on how much bad content and bad actors they removed from their platform this year. To me, these numbers were astonishing to know that there's even this much bad stuff on TikTok. I want to share a few of the numbers that really shocked me. From just July to September, TikTok removed more than 147 million videos which violated their policies. Keep in mind that there's so many videos that don't get removed that violate policies as well. So these numbers are likely doubled, tripled, or more of what is actually existing on the platform. TikTok removed over 1.3 billion comments in this 3-month time span and banned over 214 million accounts for breaking their rules. They use an automated moderation technology and moderation teams to help identify and remove content that violates the policies, but automation is responsible for over 80% of the removals. Maybe that's why they do such a bad job removing bad content, is because they're leaving it up to technology 80% of the time to identify what is bad or good, what is safe or not. TikTok also shared the number of accounts which were banned for grooming, child sex trafficking, or sharing or requesting child sexual abuse material. So between January and June of 2024, over 444,000 accounts were removed for these type of violations. This is over double the amount of the same time period the year before. I'm going to share a link in the episode notes of all the TikTok user reports in case you're interested, but I thought they were important to share to show the vast amount of predation and inappropriate content that is available to our children on TikTok. And maybe TikTok will be sold soon to an American company. We'll see. We're going to be hearing arguments from TikTok to the Supreme Court next week on why they should stay under Chinese ownership. As a reminder, we passed a law here in the US in 2024 because TikTok under Chinese ownership is a national security threat. The Chinese Communist Party can use TikTok to conduct surveillance and censorship on a global scale. The United States is not trying to ban TikTok outright. Our government is trying to protect us by requiring that TikTok be acquired by an American company who will prioritize user safety and privacy. TikTok continues to spread dangerous content to children. In Venezuela recently, their Supreme Court fined TikTok $10 million for failing to control the spread of viral and deadly challenges on their platform. This led to the deaths of 3 Venezuelan children. 2 of these children died after inhaling toxic substances, which was recommended to them by TikTok. A lawsuit in Pennsylvania is moving forward after TikTok recommended a choking challenge video to a 10-year-old named Nyla Anderson. She tried it and died. TikTok's algorithm chose this for her. Nyla did not search for it. This is the type of content that our children are being served. And TikTok's own internal reports show that kids can become addicted to TikTok in as little as 35 minutes. They can use it all day and all night, and that's what TikTok wants. But remember that TikTok in China is much different. Minors in China are restricted to 40 minutes a day. They cannot use the product at night, and they only see educational and inspirational content. This in itself shows you how much this Chinese company cares about our children versus their children. President Trump assumes office this month and has publicly requested a stay on this law so that his administration can negotiate a resolution. He was seen meeting with TikTok CEO at the end of December, and President Trump stated that he has a soft spot for TikTok since it was so useful during his campaign. I was asked about this on Fox News this week. I was asked what I would say to President Trump regarding TikTok. And to repeat that here, while TikTok may have been helpful for his campaign, it is also true that TikTok is harmful to children. These are 2 separate and very true things. And when we're talking about voters in an election, those are adults. So we can make TikTok safer for kids, protect user data, and also use it to reach voters in an election. All of this can happen, and none of this will happen while under the control of ByteDance and the Chinese Communist Party. I am hopeful that the Supreme Court will affirm the D.C. Circuit Court's ruling and allow Congress to protect Americans from the CCP's exploitation of TikTok user data. Okay, moving on to Snapchat. Snapchat was in the news this week for several things, a few that are very concerning to parents. First, a 29-year-old man in New Jersey has been arrested after exchanging sexually explicit messages and photos with teenage girls on Snapchat. He had been chatting with one girl, exchanging sexual imagery. This girl is now 15, and he was talking to her for 2 years, since she was 13 years old. He was also engaging sexually with other girls on Snapchat as young as 10. The fact that a predator and young girls, 10-year-olds, can be sending nude images back and forth on a platform that is targeted to kids is disgusting. Shame on Snapchat. Also, a 31-year-old woman in Illinois is in jail after producing and distributing child sexual abuse material on Snapchat. There's more and more of these types of stories every single week. And this is what happens when you create a platform that's entire purpose is anonymous conversations, disappearing messages. You have predators exploiting children. And these 2 criminals are luckily behind bars. But how many others are now, as I am speaking, grooming a child on Snapchat? It's too many to count. Snapchat is not safe for kids, not safe for teens. It encourages bad behavior, not just predation, but bullying and drug use and promiscuity. All the things that we don't want our kids seeing or doing. Keep your kids off Snapchat if you can. Talk to them about the threat of strangers online and advocate with your elected officials for age restrictions with actual age verification. 10-year-olds should not be able to get on Snapchat. Now on to some concerning news about Meta. Say goodbye to human users on Facebook and Instagram. Meta wants to add thousands of AI users. Complete with profile photos and bios, they'll be able to create posts all powered by AI. Meta's goal is to increase the engagement of humans within the platforms by adding these AI users. Apparently, there are already hundreds of thousands of AI users on Facebook and Instagram. They snuck on there in July of 2024. It begs the question, what are the ethical and moral implications of creating AI users that many could and will confuse with real people? We are already seeing the negative consequences of human-like AI chatbots through apps like Character AI and Replica and Poly AI and many others. Kids and teens are becoming addicted to these apps, manipulated by these bots, and even abused by them in many cases. You can listen to my interviews with 2 different moms to learn about their sons' experiences with AI chatbots, one of which lost his life. I will also include links in the episode notes to a few different interviews with AI experts who can help us parents understand how to navigate the confusing and quickly expanding world of AI. But suffice it to say, integrating more AI into products that children are using, products whose goal is engagement to get our kids to spend as much time as possible on a screen, this is a recipe for harm. Please restrict AI interactions for your kids or use it with them side by side. We need to have a tech together mentality to keep our children safe until laws can catch up to regulate this technology. The founders rely on a move fast and break things mentality. Those things are our kids and we have to protect them. Thank you so much for listening to the Big Tech Gut Check, the first one of 2025. Happy New Year, and I will catch you next week.